Nation of Fit in 10, welcome to the start of week 5. We are on day 29, heading or culminating up to day 35, the halfway point. Soon to be here, 6 days away. I did just send off your numbers, so please take a look. Your macros should have changed. Your calories, for the majority of you, have dropped down, and you'll see a difference in your macros. Now, one thing I just want to say here, you're going to see a change in your carbohydrates. Your carbohydrates are going to drop. Maybe your fat a little bit too, but not a whole lot. Your protein's going to stay the same, if not, maybe go up a little bit. So you might think, yeah, throughout this challenge, my carbs drop the most, and that's just proof that carbs are bad. Carbs are bad. No, it doesn't mean that at all. What it means is we have to scale back your energy intake. And in my opinion, your fat already is at a low. I start you off with low fat. I wouldn't even say it's moderate fat, definitely not high fat. It is in that lower range. So I don't really want to cut back on your fat. And remember, fat, yes, it's an energy source. Everything's an energy source, of course, but carbohydrates and fats are more energy sources per se, but fat also plays a structural role in the body. We talked about that back in, I don't know, day 4 or 5 or 6, something like that. The role of fat, dietary fat. Carbohydrates don't quite have that. They just play more in terms of a role in energy. And of course, when we look at protein is going to be your biggest aid in this, just simply because of all the, quote, dieting side effects that it has, or I don't know if we want to call them side effects, but makes it sound negative. All of the dieting pluses that you get with a diet that's reasonably high in protein. And right now, your calories, depending on who you are, you're getting probably somewhere around 29 or 30% of your calories coming from protein. So you're still getting 70% of your calories from 71% of your calories from fats and carbohydrates. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We need to keep the protein in there because it has just so many great functions in terms of keeping you feeling energetic, because we get in terms of the chemistry in the body, it allows us to stay more alert. Again, it has a sugar modulating, or it acts as a sugar modulator. It's going to help to stabilize those blood sugar levels. It's also going to help with your recovery, which we really, really need. And arguably most importantly, it's going to keep you satiated. It's going to keep you full. So it plays so many different roles in your in the course of this challenge in terms of helping you to maintain your diet and to keep you satiated, to keep you going, so to speak. We're not going to get this if we keep, so we could cut the calories, bring the calories down, we can bring your protein down, but then we're just going to negate some of those effects I just talked about, some of those positive effects. So this is why we want to keep that protein there. It's not that carbohydrates are bad. It's just that we're going to drop your energy down a little bit. Not a lot. You'll see in this whole challenge, we don't drop it down a lot. We drop it down a little bit from starting to end, and the bulk of that energy is going to come from the most non-essential foods. The most non-essential macros, and those are going to be from carbohydrates. All right. If your fats were much higher, then maybe I would scale down your fats a bit more. All right. Protein has got to stay there. Protein's got to at least stay where it is, if not come up a little bit more. Okay, so it's not about carbohydrates being good or bad. It's just we got to shave off the energy from somewhere. Question. Okay, so I'm going to get back to your feedback today. So question here: joint safety, best shoes for foot pronation. I put in the foot word. This person just wrote best shoes for pronation. I'm assuming they mean foot pronation. I like neutral, but am I wrong? I'm assuming you like neutral footing. Neutral footing would be like what I would consider to be optimal footing, which really is having the arch in the foot and the toes spread apart. Now this is really interesting because if you look at If you go back in time and you look at humans before we started wearing restrictive shoes around the foot, encasing the foot, the widest part of the foot was at the toes. This is the way we're supposed to be. Nowadays, we tend to see the widest part of the foot generally below the toes. And so what's happening is the toes are getting squished in. And this plays a major role, if not the primary role, in why we lose a lot of that foot, that foot neutrality. And specifically, we're talking about the arch of the foot. So what do I recommend for shoes? Well, if you take a look at your foot and if you notice your toes are very, very narrow, my toes are actually quite narrow. They're about as, yeah, I mean, I should really do this myself. Although I do have a good arch in my foot. I'm at risk of losing this though, for sure. I think any of us are with the squeezing of the foot. So what do I recommend? Those 5-fingered shoes, I really do, as much as they might look a bit hokey and, you know, maybe not nice and supportive in terms of when you're walking over rocky ground or whatever. It's not going to be super, super comfortable. But for the sake of being in the gym, or for the sake of when you're on a safe grounded area, okay, so free of, a lot of debris like glass or rocks and that type of thing, I would go with one of these 5-fingered shoes. Yeah, especially with training. Definitely, there is a bit of controversy with this, okay, but to me, I always resort back to what did we evolve with, right? Because the body has a way of sorting itself through, especially as time goes on, right? Because we adapt, or the body is adapting. So wearing supportive shoes is something new that we've introduced. So I would go with a non-supportive shoe in particular, if you can, those fingered shoes. So we work on spreading the toes out. When you get the spread in the toes, you're automatically going to create more arch in the foot. You're automatically going to see more of that. You're going to see less supination, okay? And just, if I didn't already say this, the supination is the loss in the arch of the foot. It's the foot collapsing inward. Oh, 7.5 minutes? Okay, I was gonna get back to more. Okay, well, whatever. I gotta get the message of the day. Let's do that. Okay, so this is the starting of week 5, and this is the point, not always, but quite often, where I tend to see people quitting in the challenge. Usually week 5. This is where we tend to see people starting to drop off, right around the time of that second scan. So, this is the week that you will not quit, and just like every other week, you will not quit. And the only way you will fail, if you want to use that word, the only way, let's not say that because that's got a really negative connotation. The only way you will not get towards the goal that you want to is by stopping altogether. And a lot of people think that this is an offer-on thing. That is, I do the challenge or I don't do the challenge. Listen, you can still do parts of this. Okay, you can still do parts of the diet. You could still just work on, obviously I want you to try to stick to the pillars as close as possible, but listen, if you're way off and you're struggling immensely, and like I mentioned a couple videos ago, you gotta set these small little benchmarks and then try to meet them. Okay, so doing some is always better than none. Remember that? Remember I said that? Doing some is always better than none. Of course, if you quit, you're not gonna get anything. Okay, so and I don't think this is good for, when we quit, quite often all that does, it reinforces in our mind that we can't do it, that we're not unable to do it, but we are able to do it, okay? Maybe just not pedal to the metal, but we're able to do something. So even if it's 10 or 20%, this can still make a big difference. So if quitting is coming across your mind right now, no, even if you have something like, I don't know, a long vacation coming up, something that's going to disrupt the process here. You have a surgery coming up or something like that. It doesn't mean for you to drop the ball and just stop everything. No. All right. So keep up with as much as you can. Keep up with as much as you can. All right. So did I even say the message of the day? I haven't. So here it goes. It's okay to want to quit. It's totally fine, just so long as you don't. It's okay to want to quit, just so long as you don't. It's okay to want to quit. It's fine to have those feelings. Feelings are normal. We all have all kinds of feelings. But let's work on the feelings, or let's work on being work on being aware of our feelings and then deciding what is going to help me the most rather than just simply giving way to our feelings, right? Okay? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I will talk to you all very soon.